This is about a motion to lift order amending conditions of bond in State of Texas v. Jonathan Hutchins, defendant. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, Your Honor, prosecution team, public defender team, and fellow citizens. I am uncertain of the time of day that this video will be viewed, therefore my greeting covers all the bases. My First Amendment freedom of speech and religion is greatly curtailed by an order amending conditions of bond. I have carefully redacted information from the order so that this post and tweet won't violate the order. This video is regarding the state of Texas versus Jonathan Hutchins. This video is also regarding my First Amendment freedom of religion. It is also about my First Amendment freedom of speech. First and foremost, it is to glorify God. As citizens of the United States, we are entitled to full constitutional protection, regardless of the court that we are tried in. The constitutional protection applies to municipal courts, county courts of law, district courts, and federal courts. Your Honor, shortly after I turned myself in, a number of my constitutional rights have been violated. This includes the way I was processed by the bi-state jail. There are a number of constitutional concerns regarding my case. However, these will be addressed at a later time. Amanda, I am thankful that the Lord has provided you as my attorney. I know you have been practicing law for just over a year. I know that you have not been admitted to any of the federal courts. However, Rick Shoemaker, the Chief Public Defender, has been admitted to practice in various federal courts. Amanda, I respectfully request that you work closely regarding our case with him, since there are a number of constitutional issues that will need to be addressed. Amanda, God is going to use you in a great and mighty way so that He may be glorified. You remind me of Timothy in the Bible. 1 Timothy 4:12 in the English Standard Version. Let no one despise you for your youth, but set the believers an example in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, in purity. Amanda, you advised me of my right to remain silent when I was expressing my First Amendment concerns to the Honorable Judge Craig L. Henry. You stated that what I say can and will be used against me. Amanda, I have been and will continue to follow Jesus throughout the legal process. Before I even knew that I would qualify for a public defender, I spent an extensive amount of time searching for an attorney and preparing in the event that I need to go pro se. For my fellow citizens that don't have a legal background, pro se means that I would have represented myself in court without an attorney. Amanda, one of the things the Holy Spirit has impressed upon me during this time of preparation was that I was to make sure the court record is complete. This means that it needs to include everything, whether it helps or hurts my case. It must contain the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. What I say in open court on the record can be used for me by an appellate court if an appeal should become necessary. Exactly how this is going to eventually shake out, I don't know for sure. I'm not God. I know that I'm held accountable to Jesus for remaining faithful. If He chooses to have my case go through multiple court levels, including the Supreme Court of the United States, then I will follow Him through the various state and federal courts as He leads. I know this can take a very long time. However, it is of utmost importance that I honor God by standing firm as He leads me. I am in complete agreement regarding Item 1 in your order to amend conditions of my bond. However, Item 1 is unnecessary since it is part of my original bond. Your Honor, the charge alleged against me is in no way, shape, or form related to the consumption of alcohol or illegal drugs. However, my right to consume alcohol under the 21st Amendment is stripped away by this order. The good thing is that it has no impact on me since I am a teetotaler. Your Honor, Item 3 in your order to amend conditions of my bond violates the 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendments to the Constitution. Coffin v. United States was an appellate case before the United States Supreme Court in 1895, which established the presumption of innocence of persons accused of crimes. Your Honor, Item number 4 in your order to amend conditions of my bond violates my First Amendment rights of free speech and freedom of religion. I am not a real or perceived threat to anyone involved in this matter. Exercising my freedom of speech and freedom of religion in no way passes the clear and danger test established in Schenck versus United States. Justice Louise D. Brandeis in Whitney versus California expressed the following opinion. Those who won our independence believed that the final end of the state was to make men free to develop their faculties, and that in its government the deliberative forces should prevail over the arbitrary. They valued liberty both as an end and as a means. They believed liberty to be the secret of happiness and courage to be the secret of liberty. They believed that freedom to think as you will and to speak as you think are means indispensable to the discovery and spread of political truth, that without free speech and assembly discussion would be futile, that with them discussion affords ordinarily adequate protection against the dissemination of noxious doctrine, that the greatest menace to freedom is an inert people, that public discussion is a political duty, and that this should be a fundamental principle of the American government. Men feared witches and burnt women. It is the function of speech to free men from the bondage of irrational fears. Those who won our independence by revolution were not coward. They did not fear political change. They did not exalt order at the cost of liberty. To courageous, self-reliant men with confidence in the power of free and fearless reasoning applied through the process of popular government, no danger flowing from speech can be deemed clear and present unless the incidence of the evil apprehended is so imminent that it may befall before there is opportunity for full discussion. If there be time to expose through discussion the falsehood and fallacies, to avert the evil by the process of education, the remedy to be applied is more speech, not enforced silence. Your Honor, in the American Library Association versus U.S. Department of Justice and Reno versus American Civil Liberties Union, in a 9-0 decision, the U.S. Supreme Court on June 26, 1997, declared unconstitutional a federal law making it a crime to send or display indecent material online in a way available to minors. The decision in the consolidated cases completed a successful challenge to the so-called Communications Decency Act by the Citizens Internet Empowerment Coalition, in which the American Library Association and the Freedom to Read Foundation played leading roles. The court held that speech on the Internet is entitled to the highest level of First Amendment protection, similar to the protection the court gives to books and newspapers. Clearly, Your Honor, exercising my freedom of speech on the Internet using social media such as Facebook and Twitter is a constitutional right. I have a right for this legal process to be public per the Sixth Amendment of the Constitution. Your Honor, Item 5 in your order to amend conditions of my bond violates the Confrontation Clause of the Sixth Amendment to the United States Constitution. As your order stands, third parties, such as my attorney or investigators at the Public Defender's Office, are prohibited from deposing or cross-examining the alleged victim. Your Honor, Items 3 through 5 in your order to amend conditions of my bond have misspelled the last name of the alleged victim. Technically, as far as I know, the person in the order does not exist. It would dishonor God to use a technicality to violate the intent of your order. However, Your Honor, my top priority in this matter is to glorify God. The second highest priority is to glorify God not by retaliating, by allowing him to use me for reconciliation regardless of the cost. Unfortunately, your order prohibits me from going into detail regarding the second most highest priority at this time. The lowest priority, but still a priority, is to maintain my freedom. Your Honor, I have not discussed this video with my attorney or anyone at the Public Defender's Office. The primary reason for this is to protect them. I do not want any of them to be sanctioned or otherwise disciplined because of me. Your Honor, as you can see, my constitutional rights are very dear to me. I am willing to fight and risk just about anything to protect my constitutional rights. However, Your Honor, the Constitution is not the ultimate authority in my life. The ultimate authority is Jesus, God, the Holy Spirit, and His Word. The Bible has far more authority in my life than the Constitution. Because of this, there are rights such as the right to remain silent that I will waive in open court. However, there are also God-given rights that are enshrined in our Constitution that I will stand firm and allow Him to use me to protect. Your Honor, before coming to New Boston for the arraignment, I prayed about whether or not I should bring Deborah, my trail dog, with me. He gave me peace about bringing her with me instead of putting her in a kennel. When I seen the beautiful blue Welcome to Texarkana sign on I-30 on November 16th, I said out loud, I am home. As I said it, my heart was expressing thanksgiving, praising the Lord, and making a statement of faith all at the same time. As I explained in open court, I have serious concerns regarding this order. I was told that if I do not comply with this order, that I would be in jail until I went to trial. Amanda told me it could be many months before I would have a trial date. This is especially true with the holidays that we're coming up on. She told me that signing the order means I understand the order, even if I don't agree with the order. Your Honor, I was caught between a rock and a hard place. My dog was at the hotel. What would happen to her if I was jailed? I had to quickly pray and ask Jesus to show me the way. He brought to mind Romans 13, verses 1 through 5 in the English Standard Version. Let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authorities resists what God has appointed, and those who resist will incur judgment. For rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Would you have no fear of the one who is in authority? Then do what is good, and you will receive his approval, for he is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. For he is the servant of God and an avenger who carries out God's wrath on the wrongdoer. Therefore, one must be in subjection, not only to avoid God's wrath, but also for the sake of conscience. Your Honor, none of us are perfect. That is why there are courts of appeal, and even the Supreme Court. Even the Supreme Court can be wrong from time to time. There was the terrible Dred decision that discounted the rights of Dred Scott. Another terrible decision is Roe v. Wade that denies the most innocent among us their right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Amanda, I respectfully request that you file a motion to lift the order to amend conditions of my bond based upon the content of this video. Please feel free to add any additional justification to the motion if you desire. Your Honor, I need to use social media to let a friend know how thankful I am for her. I'm going to hold off as long as I can, but I must need to let her know soon, even if it means I become a guest at the bi-state jail. She means more to me than my freedom. I truly believe the commands that God has given me regarding this matter. There's a biblical basis for these commands. Your Honor, I do not believe this video has violated your order, since I have not mentioned her by name. I have demonstrated that this order is unconstitutional. Your Honor, we have a lot of work to do to restore the constitutional rights to your defendant and glorify God. Thank you, Your Honor.